Welcome to Jurassic World circa 2004. So, what we're doing here with this Jurassic World build is we're playing it a little bit like a campaign. We're going to be progressing from year to year, building Jurassic World up to 2015 and the Indominus Rex and all of that. This is what we're starting with, and this is like, conceptually, this is 2004. The park is under construction. It is not open yet. I do need to actually explicitly shut the park down. Let's do that. Close the park. Park closed. We have a lot of capital here. And we got our initial wave of animals. So we've got a couple of Triceratopses here that have survived the original Jurassic Park. The DPG list, if you use the DPG lore from Fallen Kingdoms of Marketing, they say that the 6 Triceratops died, 2 survived. Cleanup in 1994, so we're just going to go with that, right? Both of the trikes survived after the sick one died. Fine. And we know, I should say this too, we know there were 8 animals in Jurassic World when it opened. This is set in the Jurassic World movie, and this is set in the novel, The Evolution of Claire. The Evolution of Claire establishes that the starting animals in Jurassic World were Compy, Dilo, Rex, for 3 carnivores, and then Galli, Para, Brachy, Trike, and Anky. So those are our 8 animals that we have to get into the park before we open. Now, there's this thing called Jurassic World, the Exhibition. This is a live tour that they have in the real world that is themed around Jurassic World. It's kind of like pseudo in-universe. Like, it has these different things in it that are what would you say? They're sections of the real life exhibition that are based on areas that were in the park, right? And they include in that an area, I'm trying to find some of my images, an area that is not seen in the films and is actually not mentioned on the maps. I think it's interesting conceptually, so we're going to use it here in our park, and it actually kind of works for us with some of the lore from Claire, the Evolution of Claire book. I actually can't find one of the images. Okay, well, anyway, here's the first image. Let me grab this. Nope. Why did that not work? Okay, weird. I just had to do it twice. Ha! There it is. So this, unfortunately, is not English, this image. But this shows on the map here, if I zoom in, way in, where this is supposed to be actually located in Jurassic World. So what this is an area called the Land of the Giants, south of the Lagoon. And this little sign here, you can find an English version of this online, but apparently I didn't save it off in my prep for this park build. This little sign here says that the Land of the Giants is this area in the original, or the area in Jurassic World that contains the animals that survived the original Jurassic Park. So this has Brachiosaurus, as seen here, Parasaurolophus. I believe these are both mentioned explicitly in this text as being in the area. So I have extrapolated from that this also includes the Gallimimus and Triceratops that survived the original park, which is why we have 2 Triceratops in this pen. We have 6 Gallimimus, all visually in the style of the classic Gallimimuses. We have 4 Parasaurs, which are going to be our 4 surviving Parasaurs from the original park. The other ones were eaten by Rexy over the intervening 10 years. Somehow she survived on 4 Parasaurs. Don't question it. If you believe the DPG lore, you just got to accept that. I don't, but whatever. And 4 Brachiosaurs. So the DPG stuff says there were 5 that survived the film out of an original 6, or maybe there was always 5, something like that. But Claire's novel says explicitly that there are 4 Brachiosaurs when Jurassic World opens. It also says explicitly that 3 came from Sorna, apparently. I haven't read the book. But apparently 3 came from Sorna, which implies that the only Brachiosaur that survived until 2015 on Nublar from the original park is the one that dies in Fallen Kingdom. Because that one's confirmed to be from the original park. So, I guess.
This is pack behavior. Let's learn all we can.
Quiet, Isaac.
Minimize the impact as
So we've got 4 kind of classic Brockies here. I've given one a bluish streak to try and be like the Fallen Kingdom design. So I guess this is the actual mature Brockie that survived the original film, I guess, conceptually. And the other ones are 93 style Brockies that came from Sorna. We never actually see a 93 style Brockie on Sorna. We only see the 2001 JP3 Brockies. But it doesn't feel right to have 2001 JP3 Brockies anywhere except on Sorna, because we never see them again after JP3. Right? We do see classic style Brockies again in Fallen Kingdom and like Camp Cretaceous. So that's why I went with these ones here. I mixed in a few variants so that they're not all samey, right? We got the one Fallen Kingdom style one, but we do have like 93A, 93B based off the animatronic and the CGI model. I think the animatronic's the bluer of the two. I don't remember, honestly. It's fine. And then we have compies. So we have a wide array of compies. These guys are using various skins from Film Canon and Camp Cretaceous. So there's a nice little Camp Cretaceous mod that has a bunch of different skins that are seen in the show. And then there's nice Film Canon mods that have a bunch of different skins for compies that are seen in Lost World and JP3. The male and females from Lost World and the very green ones from JP3. This is probably a JP3. Nope, this is a 97 male. Just kidding. So we've mixed those together. Why are my Gallimimuses mad? They split up. Why have you done this? That's annoying. I did not think the spend would be big enough for that to be an issue. I'm not going to lie. That's unpleasant. Huh. Okay. Well, we'll let it be for now and worry about it later. Let me save, I guess, before this becomes too annoying. Let's make a new save. 2004B. Well, anyway, let's just not look at any of that. So, over here, we got our Lagoon put in, right? So the Mosasaurus doesn't show up till like 2007 or something. We know what year it was bred because we're told that information in marketing for like Fallen Kingdom. However, building Jurassic World without the Lagoon put in is like impossible, so we've gone ahead and built it. Conceptually, the idea we're doing here is we know that when Jurassic World opens by the Evolution Declare novel, they're processing the Mosasaur DNA. So at this point, we're just saying they know they have a Mosasaur and they will get it and put it on display. So they've built the Lagoon for it already. Whatever. Fine. Here we have the T-Rex Kingdom with Rexy in it, of course. In her scarred skin from Dominion. Because this is the base game skin that most represents the Jurassic World era Rex. Although she looks much worse for the wear in the film. Very skinny. But you know what? That's fine. Don't worry about it. And we've also given her a set of compies. So the idea with the compies is I want compies in like every pen that has a large animal. Because the compies in the novel exist in the park primarily to play the cleanup crew for the large herbivores and probably the Rex as well, right? They're there to clean up refuse and dung and whatnot. Being the little scavengers that they are. So I think it's fun if we put compies kind of in every pen to play that like cleanup role. I think that'll be cool. And yeah, we have Main Street with our different little shops set up. I tried to... So I've matched the shops to like kind of the main shops that are on Main Street. There's a lot of like filler stuff. We're not going to include it because you just can't make it work. Unfortunately, you just can't do a really rigorous recreation without bending over backwards and using mods to clip things together. And I really didn't want to do the clipping mods for this run. I just wanted to keep the building constraints base game because I could see it becoming really annoying when everything is just clipped together. So we've done this. But we got like bathrooms where bathrooms are listed on maps. We've got, you know, sushi where the sushi is. Other Asian restaurant where the other Asian restaurant is. Some souvenir shops. Drinks over here. This is Margaritaville. That's why it's got a beer on it. It works. We got the spa that's on the map. We got the arcade. We got the cinema. And then we got some other shops down here. Smoothies. Not secondary bar or whatever. We got the control center up there, of course. We got the monorail connecting from the entry point with the hotel over to the main, like, Main Street area back behind the Innovation Center. And then the goal here, the last thing we need before we open the park for business is the Gyrosphere, which will go back here behind the hill. So we haven't built the Gyrosphere yet, right? That's going to be kind of our 2004 into 2005 project. We're going to dig up DNA for the Gyrosphere animals, build the Gyrosphere, open up. That's the goal for 2004, 2005. If the galleys get out, we'll have to deal with them. That is what it is. So we have 6 Ankylosaurus from Sorna. These are female Sorna Ankylosauruses going by the evolution of Claire. We're keeping these in the hatchery for now because they represent animals that, oh, I can't remove this, which is really funny. Whatever. These represent animals that are in holding, right? These have been shipped from Sorna, but they haven't been released because they don't have an exhibit ready. Same with the Dilos. These are 5 Dilophosaurs that are from the original park. So these are, again, a number coming from the DPG list. While the Yankees are canonically from Sorna and female. The Dilos, like, we don't know anything about the Dilos. They're not covered in the evolution of Claire. They're just mentioned as being on the island. So we're just saying 5 surviving Dilos. That's it. We're going to put them on the Gyrosphere because the Gyrospheres explicitly say in Jurassic World that they're Dilo proof. Whatever. There's some dialogue there about, like, Dilo spit don't work on them. So that's what I'm using as the logic for putting them on the Gyrosphere as a species on display. I also should say the Rex has this little backlot area here out back of the T-Rex Kingdom because the T-Rex Kingdom is not big enough to meet her environmental needs, and we are playing this with, like, full challenge mode style rule set, even though we're on sandbox. So that's why we're doing that. I think that's kind of everything to get out of the way for the preamble here. We're going to put our Expedition Center and Research Center and everything over here, I think. We'll just kind of continue like a backlot area here. This is kind of a dead area of the park on the Jurassic World maps. Classic is probably the wrong phrase there. But, you know, there's no, like, Expedition Center that we're shown in Jurassic World, so we got to find our own spot to put it. It might as well just be over here. Like, I don't even know if there's anything, like, visually in the movie that you can even take, like, the Expedition Center to be referencing to, like, explain it that way. I don't have a substation. Okay, so let's grab... I'm going to need to power this. Okay, logistics, perfect. Ibrahim, a perfect name, because there is a famous paleontologist with the last name Ibrahim. That's the guy that published the new Spinosaurus finds in, like, 2015 or whatever, and the paddle tail is from Ibrahim et al. Perfect. Oh, this guy was way better. But you know what? No, Ibrahim because the name. Perfect. So I guess we put in a backup power here currently, which is fine. Like, following traditional JWE building rules now that we've started the park and turned the economy on doesn't bother me. Also, having backup for, like, the ranger stuff during a storm is not bad either. Okay, but I do want to not use this forever, so we are going to immediately jump into researching power with Ibrahim. Another thing here, I've done custom research trees. So I've done a variety of tweaks for this park build, like making aviaries and lagoons cheaper and unlocking immediately. I've done full custom animal research trees. So we start with the 8 animals from Evolution of Claire, and then we progress through the animals in my own headcanon fashion for when they may have been added to the park, or canonically when they were added to park if we actually do have a year for them. Some of those come from marketing. Some of those come from, like, the DPG adopt an animal type flyers, which say this Baryonyx was born in 2010. This Triceratops was born in 2014, whatever. So we'll be using those as well as a guideline. But yeah, it'll be a little complicated where a lot of the animals come in. We will also have to make a lot of it up. I put in every animal that could conceptually be in Jurassic World, but we're not going to use them all. We're going to only use 30 animals based on having, as the line in Jurassic World says, 14 herbivores and 6 carnivores on display. We're going to assume that doesn't include flying animals and aquatic animals. So 23 with a Mosa and then Pteranodon and Dimorphodon. We're going to assume everything else was an upcoming attraction that was not yet on display or was quarantine zoned. So that's how we're going to get up to 30 animals, which will get us pretty much every animal that you could canonically say was in Jurassic World without getting a little further out there. What was I going to do? I came here for something. Contract. I came here for a contract. Try and keep our money going. Amenity coverage, pretty good. Improved drink coverage.
They're happy.
Okay. Yes, I never put amenities in down here, and I meant to before we started, but that's fine. I guess also the park isn't open, so that actually won't work. Never mind. Don't bother with that. We'll just sit on this until the park opens, I guess. Or maybe we'll toggle the park open if we decide we need the money, if it becomes an issue. Let's get ranger station set up here to make sure we're keeping an eye on things. Ranger team 1. We already put one in here. Have the galleys relinked? No, but kinda, almost.
Means they're more likely to share this one-of-a-kind experience with others. That
Weird.
means more resources to ensure
Somehow they've split.
dinosaurs are cared for.
Wait, how is
Which
this?
is always the priority.
I don't understand. I don't know how they're inconsistently not pissed. Let's not worry about it too much. Okay, I guess we'll get some going in here. We need our... Wait, do we just do fossils here? Yes, okay, great. Okay, what else do we need right now? Nothing. Not until we start digging stuff up, really. Nothing else is needed. Yeah, I don't think we really care that stuff is draining power. We'll need some, like, shelters, I guess. But can we even see shelter demand when the park is closed? We can't. Okay. Let's go to the expedition map, then. Okay, so 5 logistics. Para. Dilo. A lot of these unlocked. Okay, I guess I... Hold on. Wait, why is... Okay, this definitely shouldn't be unlocked. But the Dimorphodon is still locked. Oh, I think what happened... I think when we started this... No, and during building at some point, we were at 1 star. We've unlocked everything up through 1 star, I think, already. That doesn't affect much. So I guess what I must have done... I guess what I did is I didn't set these to be research required. I think these unlocked automatically at a star rating, as opposed to being researched, and that's why they're done. Same with the Pteranodon. I guess that's what happened. I didn't do those correctly. That's fine. Whatever. Who cares? We save a little bit of money by not having to research Dimorphodon, Pteranodon, and Mosasaurus. They were cheapened anyway, so it wasn't like they were going to be expensive. And then I guess, yeah, it's just the rest of these were just starting animals. Okay, never mind. Everything's fine. I can dig a para. I could get started on trike if I have a little bit more. So we need paras and trikes for the gyrosphere. We don't need any more brachis or dilos. Those are at max. Para, trike, and galley. How much is galley? Maybe we do that first? Yeah, okay, let's do this dig site. Galley first. So we can start with Ankies and galleys on the gyrosphere. Okay, so for the gyrosphere, let's start by putting in a monorail station, which I need to research. So it is available now instead of at 2 stars, so that is changed, but I do still have to do the research for it. Maybe we grab a second logistics person. 4. Generalist. We have a welfare specialist. Okay, let's do that. Yeah, let's do this. Let's do recruit. Give me this welfare specialist. Let's do the research for the monorail now to build more stations. Pop back here and see if we got a geneticist. No geneticist. So what I might do, 15 minutes to refresh. Yikes. We could just grab a filler geneticist to use for now. We do have enough to do fossils with the 2 logistics people. 255 generalist, maybe. I don't know. Let's do a reroll. Mosasaurus released in 2006. Yeah, that sounds right. It was pretty early because it was being cloned in 2005. Really? Did that give me like anything new? Definitely hit the button. Okay, well, I guess we'll have to take the generalist. That'll give us 6 genetics, which should be enough to release like trikes. I'm okay with that? I guess so. Yeah, let's just wait. We won't hire him yet. Okay, so 2 minutes on monorail, 2 minutes, 3 minutes on fossils. So if the goal here for 2004 is to get the Gyrosphere in so that we can open in 2005, we actually need to research tours. So we'll put these 2 guys on it while the remaining expedition here happens. Well, the one expedition we've sent so far. This is the route for the monorail, swinging behind the Innovation Center around the hill so that the Gyrosphere sector can be connected to the main park. We don't see any of this in the film. We know there's a monorail station. We know where it is on the map. We know that there's the whole, you know, you see the like the line for the Gyrosphere, right? But you don't know what other park infrastructure there is there. So we can't really elaborate on that. I don't have the intent to put other hybrids in this park. We could, of course, do so. Stegoceratops is pretty justified, but I'm just not gonna, because I don't wanna. And we have plenty of animals that like we can definitively say were cloned to get to 30. So I don't feel the need to do Stegoceratops. Scorpius Rex was never properly in the park. It was only released accidentally afterwards, so we're not doing Scorpios either. It's in the research tree just as like an Easter egg, but we're not going to use it. Same with Stegoceratops. I put it in the research tree, not going to actually use it in the park. It's just not canonical enough for me. So yeah, 20 seconds on the gyro. We have a diseased feeder. I'm ignoring it. Have the galleys linked up with each other.
Dinosaurs definitely bring the wow factor, but we can make that
I
even
tried
bigger
to
with
merge
better
them
attractions.
together. Oh, I think it worked. Oh, it did work. Just now they don't have enough leaf over here. So let's do, I guess, ground leaf in this corner. Just enough to get them like out of the bad, I guess. There. And that shouldn't upset anybody. Para 100. Brockies are brockies, so, you know, that's always going to be a thing. Actually, I might have erased Tall Nut there. Yeah, because they have kind of the whole thing in view, actually. There, perfect. The I didn't say this, by the way. The viewing gallery here is supposed to be the lagoon from Jurassic Park 93, right? Conceptually, the idea here, my headcanon, is that this Land of the Giants, which we know features Brachiosaurus and Parasaurolophus, was built around that like Arrival Point Lagoon from the film. I think that makes sense. I think that legitimately, if this was ever canonized properly, that could be true. Actually, it just makes too much sense to not be true. You should get over this, right? Yeah, okay. It's gone. Okay, pausing for a second. Danger to vehicle, sure, yes. Rexy is mad, that's fine. Oh yeah, I don't think I ever actually made sure the compies in here were happy, but they are. They're happy to feed on T-Rex dung. Alright, so for the gyrosphere, it's kind of, we don't really know, like, so there's canonically a size to the gyrosphere area, but we don't actually know, like, the shape of it. I don't want to go too far to the back edge because we want Camp Cretaceous back there eventually, which should kind of be behind the gyrosphere area. So I think we're going to try and put it in here, kind of in this wedge area. I could put it kind of tight to the fence, or I could put it back a little bit and we have room to build, maybe. Let's do that. Let's put it like over here a little bit, and then potentially we could put in like some hotels if we decide we want to. We should obviously have a cluster of hotels near the lagoon because that can be seen in the films, but we don't need that to be the only cluster of hotels, so we can definitely put more in. Unfortunately, there's nothing in Jurassic World that really fits the concept of like a trading area. So I don't think we're going to use that idea. So I think I might just kind of do... I mean, a square is kind of boring, but like... I do too many squares. I do too many squares. Let's try to not just make a square. Let's just stop ourselves before we even start. Let's do... Okay, there's like a good way to do this. We do... Let me think. We do this. We do this. We do this. We do this. Nope, not this. Not this. Cancel that. We do this. And then we do this. We do this. Then we do this. Look at that curve. See, I knew how to do a curve. A perfect curve. Okay, then we do the same thing over here. You know what? Gyrospheres, they're round, right? So it makes sense that like the gyrosphere area should have rounded corners. No, I've convinced myself. Canonically, this is my headcanon now. This is it. I do believe in this. Bam. Bam. Oops, lost my fence. We gotta put the power lines in here too. Yeah, I like it. Then let's do another curve here. Curving back up. Oops. No. No, we do it... Wait. It should curve like this. Yeah, okay. We do it like this. I get it. I understand. I could see the matrix. We do this. We do this. We do this. Oops, that one's crooked. Camp Cretaceous Season 2, Episode 2. I do not remember episode by episode, so I have no idea what you're referring to. What happens in Season 2, Episode 2? I don't remember. Okay, now we do this. This. Oops, that's crooked. I saw you move. Okay, wait, how is this? Oh, because I started with the gyrosphere. That's why it's not the same length. That's fine. Okay. This. 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 Then we do delete, 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 delete. This goes. We do this. Oh, dinosaurs in cages. Oh, well, those were like the Baryonyxes, right? So those guys, I assumed were quarantined for some reason, undefined reason. Maybe they were sick. Who knows? Because Baryonyx was definitely on display, so it makes no sense for it to be a quarantined species in general. I think I'm probably just going to ignore that detail of things, those cages. Because I don't know how we would integrate that. It's definitely not like a trading thing, I would say, though. Okay, so the idea here is a side pen for the Dilos. So this might be what I do for the Gyrosphere area. I think I'm okay with that. I like the curved enclosure for the main tour within this like Dilophosaur pentagon. Well, I guess this is what do you call these? Trapezoid. A Dilophosaur trapezoid on the side. We'll do a gate here, and we'll do a gate here. Let's do a nice little lake. Maybe that crosses both exhibits. Like here. I kind of liked us having like a little gap there. Like a little island thing, kind of. Like a really small little extra like island. Coming off the one part. Sure, yeah. Okay. Yes. This has probably got to be moved back. Because we need to fit the Gyrosphere gate through there, probably. Alright. No power, under construction, so I can't actually build the route currently. And there's a storm coming in. Storm is approaching the island. Well, shit. Okay. Do we just want power to follow the... Oh, we can just follow the monorail and then link over to the power station. So let's do that. Okay, and then we gotta... We don't have to open the shelters because the park's not open. Doesn't matter. Now, I don't know if this exhibit's going to be big enough, but I think it should be. We want a second lake in here for the herbivores, I think. Because they'll have a tendency to cluster around one water source if you only give them one. Let's do a little bit there. It's like a little bean thing. Now it looks too much like not a good thing. There. Yeah. Kidney bean lake, sure. Ranger stations. We can probably cover this with just one. We could put it like here. Let's put it here. Let's clear a path through the woods. Oh, I also could mention that I put the trees in myself just like randomly. So that's why there's trees everywhere instead of just being the standard blank square map. Alright, repairs. Another fun little detail with this classic sector, we actually have classic JP fence, and this is the only place we're going to use this classic JP fence, and I think that's fun too. What's wrong with you? Undiagnosed ailment. Sure. Let's put the medical on this automatically. Get them in there. Alright, fossils and stuff. I never sent the dig team back out because I'm stupid. True. Factually accurate. It doesn't really matter. Yeah, go. Fences are getting chewed up. Compy has an injury. Minor. Medical should already be doing it. In theory, he's trying. Does he not understand how to navigate a gate? Okay, he's going. I wonder if the Jeeps and stuff can actually navigate the interior cell inside the T-Rex kingdom. I actually don't know if that is possible for them. All right, editing the gyrosphere track. So we want to go... Ooh, I kind of like the idea of like... Well, we can't follow the curve exactly because it's got to curve into this. Let's, Let's just do this. Okay, then it goes to the Dilo pen. Then it exits back to the herbivore enclosure. Swings around the back. So when Zach and Gray in Jurassic World take the tour on the gyrosphere, they go off through a hole in the fence and find the Yankees, right? We never know if the Yankees are in a different pen or if they escape through the hole in the fence as well. I'm going to go with they escape through the hole in the fence as well. So the one thing we do know is that the part at the front, when they start out and they see a bunch of animals, is probably open field with not as many trees. So I'm going to put, like, we're going to deplete a lot of the trees here in the front at least. And then we can have more trees back here. So there can be, like, a forested part in the park, which they never saw because they, like, went through the hole in the fence. People think Dilo is in the north restricted area. So here's the thing, right? Here's what we're doing. Evolution of Clarus's Dilo was on display. But that doesn't mean it was still on display in 2015. So what we're going to do is we're going to have Dilo be on display, but Dilo is going to only be on display for part of the time the park is open. At some point, Dilo will be replaced by a different animal and will be moved to the quarantine section in the restricted area. And that's how we rectify the evolution of Claire with the idea that maybe the Dilos were in the restricted area. Which I don't know if we actually have anything that says for sure they were in the restricted area. I don't think we really do. I don't think we have anything that even says for sure Dilo was on display or wasn't on display in Jurassic World. We only know that it was on the island, right? But I think it does make sense that Dilo wouldn't have been displayed because it's poisonous. Like, that's just a liability. So I'm willing to believe that, you know, early on they're like, oh, we have Dilos, let's just put them on display. And then eventually they decide that, like, maybe this is a bad idea and we shouldn't do this. Like, I'm okay with that, like, change of heart, so to speak. How are the galleys doing? 100% content. Are they all good? I think I'm going to release some more galleys in this pen eventually, because just the 6 makes me a little eh. Maybe we'll put a few more in there, like 2 more or something. Mr. Jeep, you should probably leave before you die. Good, good, good. Okay. We'll get the Dilos settled in here, make sure they're happy before we release the Yankees. All right, fossils. Let's focus on the galley. Okay. 25 million left. Money's okay. I'm imagining this dig site's depleted now, right? Yeah. So we could try to finish Para. That's 2 dig sites. Each of them are a 5. Sure. Let's try and finish Para next. And then we need Trike. And then we can open. So we need more Trikes, more Paras.
Commencing asset transit.
Yeah, we could have like a backstory for why the Dilos were removed. That's something I can think about, like, conceptually. This is a 2016 Camp Cretaceous Dilo based on the Dilo from the first film. Slightly more saturated, cartoony colors. I thought it'd be fun to mix a few Camp Cretaceous Dilos in. Since we only ever see the one classic Dilo in the film, we don't know if they all look the same. So we do have like a lot of 93S. So here's a great example of the slight differences. Mostly the differences are in the frill, because this pattern in the Camp Cretaceous Dilo is a little simplified versus the very complex design from the movie. And then, yeah, the green is a more saturated green. I think we have 3 classic JP Dilos and then 2 Camp Cretaceous. of 2 different variations. All right, so we can synthesize some more galleys. Let's do this. So for the galleys, we're going to go with a random favorite, which is some like base game skin combos that kind of look like some of the different galleys that we see in the films and in Camp Cretaceous, including a skin that will match Geba from Chaos Theory. There's no reason for us to assume that Geba has a unique coloration. Probably Geba just represents like a male galley variant in Chaos Theory. That would be my guess, unless Geba is referred to as a she at some point. If that happens, I don't remember, so whatever. So I think having a few Geba-style galleys mixed in would make sense. I think for pretty much every animal, we've picked out a range of skins that represent various film canon skins, so that we can really capture that like mixed aesthetic vibe from Camp Cretaceous and Chaos Theory. Okay, you guys just don't have enough of the water in your view yet, but you're fine. And then yeah, this I think is this the other one? Yeah, 2016B. So this is the kind of the pink frilled Dilo from Camp Cretaceous. Kind of a dull variation, but still very like the pattern is still very classic already. All right, galleys. So how many galleys do I want when the park opens? I have planned starting population roughly. Galleys for opening day, I wrote down as many as 26. I am probably not going to do necessarily 26 galleys. Let's do 10 for the Gyrosphere because we have these 10 here. Let's get the Ankies out. I want the Ankies to be in the pen first so that I can kind of center the exhibit around the Ankies, because they kind of can be bastards with their environmental needs. So I want to make sure they're placed well. Also, let's get a ranger team in here for status checks. Yep, phase 1 is almost go. We're getting closer to 2005 and opening day. So these are canonically 6 female Ankylosauruses from Isla Sorna. We never really, like, we don't really ever see variation in the Ankylosaurs really beyond kind of bluish ones and brownish ones. So it's hard to say what the female Isla Sorna variant would have looked like. I've always felt like the red-faced Ankylosaurs were very like male Ankylosaurus coded. That feels like a male display feature. So we're not using 2001 Ankies here. These are various blue and black skin combinations. So we're just gonna say that those are the female variants. It is canon that Jurassic World had males in it, but it was mostly female. There was limited controlled breeding. So it's probably a safe assumption that most animals you see on screen in Jurassic World and in Camp Cretaceous were female. Yeah, there were 24 Gallimimus in the DPG list in the original park, but most of those would have died over the 10 years. I still kind of want to reference that number, but we're probably not going to bother. We'll probably let contracts dictate how many galleys we have because they're good for contract completion. So we'll put these 10 in the Gyrosphere. I would like to slip a couple more into the classic exhibit in the Land of the Giants down south as well. But we might wait on that. I mean, we're still doing really good on money. I might just breed those sooner rather than later, actually. So this gets us a decent value on genome data. We should do staff center too. So let's do staff center now. Oh, that's a 3. Okay, perfect. So this guy can do that. And then we could still do galleys. Or I mean paras. So finish para. Yeah, then he's going to have to rest, or she's going to have to rest afterwards. But that's fine. All right, first Anki's coming in. These guys are like fruit and like other stuff. Okay, so we got a nice blue-gray Anki. So the reason I did like these blue-gray ones is the renders for, I think, Fallen Kingdom were like very much blue-gray and Ankylosaurs. So these are kind of representing those Fallen Kingdom renders. I don't know if you ever really see a blue-green one in the film, but you do see these like, or blue-gray Ankis do show up in like Camp Cretaceous a bit. So I think it's motivated to have some of these in the park. I've done basically an even split between kind of like brown Ankies and gray Ankies. Because the brown ones are definitely seen in the film, and they're seen a lot in Camp Cretaceous as well. So we definitely need, you know, those to be in the park. But so this one is Svalbard Pulcrana. This is a Svalbard Pilo, which is more like gray-brown, which I think works as like a mix between the two. And then we've got a car that goes flying. Dude, that Anki hit the car. This thing is like 2 stories in the air right now. This person's dead. Hold on, I gotta get a this is a screenshot right here. That's the thumbnail. How do we capture this moment? Perfect, maybe. Let's do this. Hold on. Okay, I'm gonna pause while I get the perfect frame. All right, very Dukes of Hazzard. That very fun. So where were we? We were on Anki. Okay, it's Svalbard Pilo we saw. Then we got a blank Svalbard, so this is just like a gray one without like the blue enhancements. And then yeah, Death Valley for the brown ones, which are very like these are like the ones you actually see in Jurassic World that are very brownish. This one's maybe a little too brown with the Pilo, but there's some very like lighter brown ones in Camp Cretaceous. So I think that's good. And the Death Valley Pilophylax. So yeah, that's a slightly different shade of brown because the Anki skins really do kind of suck. Oh wait, that's a Pilo as well. Okay, what about 6? 6 is probably not down yet. 6 is Death Valley Blank. So yeah, I think that's more what a Anki looks like in Jurassic World, right? They're a little darker on the top, but still brown. Whereas these ones with Pilo are more Camp Cretaceous-y, where they're more brown overall. I mean, the emergency protocols, if people get attacked, is, you know, open the shelters like usual. We use the in-game features. Nothing special. No different things. All right, let's get these guys happy kind of here in the center of the gyrosphere area. And then hopefully everybody else we can just kind of cover on the outskirts. We may need to expand this depending on how this turns out because there were 16 Triceratops in Jurassic World when it opened. They list that number explicitly in the Evolution of Claire. And that's crazy. 16 is a lot of trikes. And if we're only putting 2 in the Land of the Giants down here, then we need 14 in the Gyrosphere. And frankly, I'm not sure that's going to work. All right. Galleys are on the way. More paras. Money. Para. All right. Full load of parasaurs. All right, these paras are ready to go. So the existing paras we did are 93 paras. So these are going to be Jurassic World styled paras, but not Lux paras. We're assuming the Parasaurolophus Lux was a late addition. We're going to assume that these are like 2015-ish, possibly not even revealed to the public. So what we're going to do is we're going to do these skins here, these like whitish, greenish, brownish, reddish skins, which represent the paras kind of as they appear in Jurassic World. And then there's a kind of a range of paras that appear throughout Camp Cretaceous. And even like Chaos Theory, I think, has some non-Lux paras on the boat, right? At the end of season 1. Doesn't like the, or at the facility, right? Like doesn't like a green para get ganked by the Majunga or something, I think. I think so. Oh, their genes are already locked in because I had this set up in our initial setup. Interesting. That's fine. I'm not gonna sweat it over getting a few free gene mods here on these starting animals. It's whatever. It shouldn't be there, but it's not that big of a deal. We can't synth these until we rest. And we can't rest until we put in the staff center, right? Yes. Okay, so staff center. Where do we think this would have been? I have no idea. I think we just put it over here in like the off the grid part of the park. Maybe. Let's put it like here. Like right off of the lagoony area. No. Why do I... Okay, my shift key was being weird. I was hitting shift, and I don't know why. Maybe I was hitting control. I don't know. I'm losing my mind. That always happens when streams go late. It took like 2 hours to set this up, by the way, before the video started. Alright, so yeah, we'll just put it here. This is close enough to all this other stuff. I guess maybe it blocks the cars, but they should be able to path around. If it's a problem, we move it. Whatever. Alright, you rest. You rest. We could excavate. I don't think I'm going to do it. What about galleys? These are set to 5. If we hard reset the genome... Oh, I could hard reset the paras to reset the genome. I could have done that. We're going to do Gentle Giants in next year. So Gentle Giants will open in 2006, I think. So one thing we know from the evolution of Claire is that there were 5 herbivores in the park when it opened, but there were 3 more planned to come out like right around opening time. So our goal for 2006 is to get those next 3 herbivores out, and that's going to coincide with the Gentle Giants and Pachycephalosaurus Arena opening in the park. So those will both be 2006. So I still can't breed these. That's fine. So let's not worry about it yet. So let's just let time pass. We gotta squeeze in some avian pox research here real quick, so we'll do that. I've got scientists back, so we can go ahead and do our paras now. 6 out of 7. So yeah, I guess we just do... We reset the genes. Try for some humble, I suppose. Sure. 6 of 6. Yeah, let's do that. Let's do 75% humble. And then we'll put the logistics person on break afterwards. Alright, so yeah, trike digs is all that's left. If we can get all the trike fossils in, then we can open the park when we release the trikes into the gyrosphere. That's like our opening condition. So we're almost there. This is going to be a long episode, so I'm going to try and like cut things down here a lot near the end. So, 12 parasaurs minimum in the park when it opened. We have 4 classic in this pen. Probably we just do 2 full clutches. Maybe I skip tolerant, humble, thirsty. Yeah, okay. Let's just do 5 here so that we don't end up with a tolerant, humble, thirsty alpha. We can have a tolerant, humble alpha. Alright. Trike has the benefit of actually giving us some extra stuff to help pay for it a little bit. We're still doing pretty okay on money, actually. Like, we have 18 mil, even though we're losing, like, money for amenities that we aren't using and stuff. So I probably could have gone even harsher on our starting cash flow, but like whatever. This is not meant to be like a difficult challenge. It's just meant to be like a fun, like build Jurassic World with real economy run. You know, I don't really like the full sandbox, just like do whatever. I like to have the economy. I like to have a progression system. But I'm perfectly happy to do a park build every now and then that doesn't make us pull our hair out. Fighting against the game engine itself. So I will enjoy this leisurely pace that we're at while I can. All right, the first batch of paras are being airlifted over. We need another batch. So we might need to split jobs up a little bit. Optimize. Yeah, maybe we should do a synth here and just hold off on fossils because it won't take that long to get a synth batch done. We do have more trike to get too, so these guys can go grab trike. We'll synth up. Uh-huh. Okay, he's phased into the decoration. If that is a recurring problem for the compies, we will move them out of that pen. We know that's a recurring problem for the compies in base game anyway, where they phase through fences. So I'm not too concerned immediately. Oh yeah, I needed the logistics person for this. Whoops, never mind. We're not synthing another batch right now. We're doing fossils. But yeah, that happens in base game anyway, so no need to panic yet. All right, tuberculosis outbreak, research is happening. We're just gonna keep processing fossils here, I guess, in the meantime. Which, yeah, is gonna take up a little bit of our time while we wait to get Paras bred. All right, tuberculosis is being handled, probably. Let's get those other Paras. We need another few. Oh, you're going to be pissed at me. Well, you know what? Be pissed at me. We'll put you on a break afterwards. That's fine. Looks like a decent clutch of eggs. Social tolerant, docile. Seems fine. We could take the humble. This would give me 10 in the gyrosphere or 11 for a total of like 15. Let's just take the... Let's take them all. I like fate deciding how many animals there's in the park sometimes. So 11 paras in the gyrosphere, 4 down here, and some amount of... oh, this is... Yeah, this is a problem. We probably need a medical team back here eventually to handle this enclosure because it's pretty far away. And that is kind of an issue. I could go ahead and assign them to the... Where's the ranger station? There it is. Oh, but then we'll fill up all his task slots. It's kind of annoying too. Let's just... let's assign him though. Okay, well, yeah, anyway, like I was saying, what was I saying? Yeah, pseudo-randomizing the numbers by just taking whichever animals we can afford to hatch or look good at the time is fine. All right, I need another medical team. We just have to do this, so we have to do the research. That can be you. Well, that is happening. We do have another galley that fragmented off, so I'm going to just go ahead and release some more galleys down here. Let's just get another batch. Just because I don't want to deal with them fragmenting, so we'll just release another few, and hopefully that's enough to keep them together, kind of. Yeah, this is a problem. All right, second facility's in. For galleys, maybe... Honestly, do I even... skittish ain't bad. It doesn't really matter. I don't want to release too many more into this pen, though. 1, 2, 3. I want to keep it, like, special. Okay, also, let's look at the skins. 93 small doesn't make sense. Because why would there be juvenile galleys from the original park still? So none of those. 93 CD. So 4 more? I'm fine with 4 more. 10 total? Sure. Canonically, we'll just say they were breeding. That's fine. Fossils remaining. Yes. So does that finish trike genome? It does. That's for you. Okay. Now we just got to get the disease under control and start breeding trikes, and then we can finish up to 2004. And open the park and move into 2005. I mean, canonically, we're probably in 2005. I don't know if we know what I think it opened in mid-year, in the middle of the year. So I'm sure we're in 2005 by now. We just, you know, need to finish it up. Oh shit, medical. Okay, he's in that pen. He's fine. Okay, you get assigned here. Get these Dilos. One of them might have already been dying. You are in this pen leaving. Get these 3 then. Okay, 47%'s not that bad. Galleys, release them. Just get them out there. Okay, yeah, the only thing we have disease in the south part of the park, well, until now, was the Rex. Okay, he's getting that one. Other medical team should be going home. He's trying to get out of the pen. He's trying. He's trying. Okay, he's out. Okay, okay, Triceratopses. So, let's reset the stuff. These are random brown or blue Jurassic World style trikes, which is one of my least favorite animals in the franchise, but that is what the design looks like after Jurassic World, so we got to go with it. I could do 25% humble. I feel like I kind of need humble. I can't do 7. I just can't. So we'll just roll the dice on getting a humble one eventually, I guess, with just 25%. All right, there's the first wave. All right, park is, I mean, we're getting things under control here. Medical teams are moving in. Rex is not gonna die. It'll be fine. Rexy's gonna be safe. So, first clutch of trikes. Here's the problem, right? Trikes have access to aggressive genes, which suck. So we got a social, we got a humble. I think we just release these and we get whatever alpha we get. Because otherwise, we're going to be stuck here trying to get ones that don't suck. And unfortunately, with the scientist spread we have, we can't incubate and hatch at the same time. 5 more trikes coming in here. So that gives us 12 out of 16. We're almost there. We're almost open.
Asset delivery. Asset has been collected.
We need to see if these guys are going to be happy here in the Gyrosphere exhibit.
Asset transported.
Okay. They're getting there. You know, we need a little extra fiber, a little more fiber in their diet. That's fine. We can get some fiber in here.
Delivery has been completed.
Everybody else is chilling, so when we'll have like enough trikes that this exhibit should remain covered pretty well. So they should not be a problem long term. So 4 in this batch gets us humble, neutral, and one of the weeks. Blue one or a brown one? Probably should do brown. No, blue, because they're like blue-gray. This is actually more of a gray. I think there's gray is a more common color than the brown here. The brown is a little too brown compared to the gray, if that makes sense. Like, let's go look at some of the trikes real quick. And I'll show what I mean. It's hard to actually pick a good color for the trike that looks like what you see in Jurassic World on screen. Like, this is too brown, and this is too gray. It should be something in between these two, I think.
Commencing asset transfer.
But they do kind of have these different shades of gray and brown depending on where you see the trikes between like the World Trilogy and like Camp Cretaceous. So having the mix of the two is not bad. So these are the only 2 variants we're going to have though, because oh no, trike is never in Camp Cretaceous. You never see this in Camp Cretaceous for some reason. You only see Pseudo and Silent. So yeah, just brown and gray between like official renders and like world versus dominion, adults versus babies, whatever. Yeah. And that's it. Park is ready to open. So we've got the Gyrosphere with the 14 trikes, the 6 Ankies, 11 Parasaurs, 4 more Parasaurs, 2 more trikes in the Land of the Giants. We got the Rex, we got Rexy, we got Compies, we got Thylos. That's the full roster for the park. The park opens, and we continue 2005 next episode.